VoodooDE.
Was geht ab, Leute? Willkommen zurück in der virtuellen Realität. Und jetzt habe ich mal was Interessantes für euch. Und zwar war ich auf meiner ersten Virtual Reality Konferenz. Das klingt komisch, war es auch. Ich war einer von den Speakern, also von den Sprechern auf der Bühne. Und ihr müsst euch das vorstellen, wirklich, ihr seht es hier ganz gut. Also es ist da ein Publikum und die Speaker, also die irgendwas zu sagen haben, die sind dann auf der Bühne. Und ich wurde da eingeladen zum Thema Pimax. Es gibt ja nicht so viele Leute, die Pimax getestet haben. Und im Publikum haben Betreiber von zum Beispiel VR-Arcades weltweit gesessen. Da war einer aus Brasilien, einer aus USA, einer aus Japan und die wollten sich halt anhören, was haben wir darüber zu erzählen. Einer hat zum Beispiel was über Oculus Quest gesagt, ich habe über Pimax was gesagt und so weiter. Und das war sehr interessant. Also ich weiß nicht, ob es jetzt für euch interessant sein wird, weil es ist wichtig, alles ist auf Englisch logischerweise, weil das war eine weltweite Konferenz. Aber ich fand es sehr interessant. Müsst ihr gucken, ob es vielleicht für euch nicht so interessant ist, keine Ahnung. Aber allein diese Software, wie das alles funktioniert, dass Leute im Publikum sind, die können sich dann so melden mit so einem Fragezeichen und dann kann der Moderator die anklicken und dann können die halt sprechen. Ansonsten ist das Mikrofon stumm geschaltet, sonst wird jeder nur durch die Gegend schreien natürlich. Ja, das ist sehr interessant. Ich bin übrigens der VoodooDE, wenn ihr mich noch nicht kennt. Ich zocke für euch immer die neuesten und besten VR-Spiele, teste für euch VR-Hardware, bin für euch auf Events unterwegs, mittlerweile auch virtuelle Events und sonntags gibt es immer die Weekly News. Also, wenn ihr alles zum Thema Virtual und Augmented Reality erfahren wollt, dann abonniert nicht mich, unfassbar. Ihr wisst schon, was ich meine, ne? Und ja, dann würde ich sagen, ziehen wir uns die Konferenz mal rein. Viel Spaß und los geht's.
Few panel speakers, and let's see which one of them are here because connection was a little bit sporadic. Zan, have you been able to? Yeah, you're here. So our first participant, Alexandre, he's let me pull out the presentation. For some reason it disappeared. Do you see the presentation? The slide and
yeah, I can.
boom. Yeah, it's here. Interesting. Kind of disappears when I'm pulling out a person, but we'll see what happens when I bring out the next ones. So Alexandre was at OC5, and he'll be able to say a few words about his experience with Quest. Then let me bring Thomas. Thomas, VoodooDE.
Hi.
So he is the most popular VR channel on YouTube on the German market. And the most important thing for us is that Thomas was one of very few, a small number of testers for Pimax. And I also promised that I'll bring Shabir into this conversation from a synthesis, and let me see if Ryan was able to log in. Is he here? No, he's not here. Okay. So let's start with this one, and let me really quickly start with you, Alexandra. What do you think about this whole situation with Oculus Quest? And based on your experience at OC5 here, I will give you your photos. Actually, some of your photos weren't able to make in because of different resolution, but most of your photos are here. You can control the flow. So tell us more about what was happening at OC5, and where do you think the strategy with Oculus with Quest goes?
So there has been some quite interesting things going on OC5. Pretty much the impression they gave with the event is that they were focused on gaming and location-based business. Just because of the whole experiences they were showing, most of them were gaming, which was a disappointment from the people from Cinematic VR. They were expecting more experiences in this category. But the whole event were mostly gaming, and there was some esports there that was actually really cool to see, with the whole screens and with the complete presentation of an esport thing. So, and from there, with the Quest, they had also games and this arena with the Danbury, showing how you could perform multiplayer game with the Quest, using some also features with the AR system they have, or the MR actually. So like the impression that I had at OC5 is that they were subtly, or not giving this hint, they were somehow going to the location-based business. Although, like it was mentioned by someone in the audience, that was, it was never their approach, or they have never been open to the location-based business, or they have never given any support at all. So they gave this different impression there. And some things I'd like to share with the event is how they operated. The operation to show people the Quest, because I thought it was a little bit worrisome actually. It wasn't that smooth. To start with, I tried Super Hot, and they have developed. I don't think there must be a picture of me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In your copies, you see a video. You can increase it, guys, and see it for yourself. That's
me.
Zan walking.
Yeah, me walking. And that was Super Hot arena, I would say. So as you can see, it's a quite large area, and they have developed the experience specifically for Quest. They used some of the stages from Super Hot, and they just made it larger, so that you could walk around and dodge from the attack of the other robots, and So they just used the same experience, Super Hot, and made it specifically for Quest, making it larger, and the sequence of the stages were similar to the original game. So from one thing I saw in this case, it's like you got in the queue, which was a little long, and then someone would pick you up and bring you to this small arena. And there was the guy operating or giving you the headset and give you some basic information, asking if you have tried VR before, which is quite interesting to be asked at GC5. And what I noticed that they had two quests there. There was like a really, I don't think we can see it, but there was a table there. Inside the table there was a second quest. So they were replacing every time someone would use it. Like they'll take it off and clean it, and then take the other quest that was probably charging. So they needed, as I could see, two quests for the whole event, which is, for me, like impressive in a way, because the number of people using it and the length of time they were using it, was pretty. The demand was there, of course.
So basically, what you're saying is that if somebody runs a Quest arena, you need to have almost like the double of size of your devices of your expected audience, right? Because you will be continuously replacing them and recharging them, right?
Precisely. Considering you have like really demanding, like you have a huge demand, people coming in all the time.
Yeah.
Apparently, two quests would be enough to suffice the demand. Maybe would you like to ask some questions about the quest?
So if you guys want to ask questions about Zan's live experience with Quest, and so you see that battery might be I wouldn't call an issue because it's a resolvable issue, but this is something that you definitely have to take into account both as a developer and as a venue.
Sorry. So I'm wondering two things. But primarily, was there any discussion on like that USB-C port there? Could you use an external battery and then run it, for a much longer time? Was there any sort of discussion about that there?
There was not, and I think depending on the kind of external battery you have, I don't think it'll be, enough to power the Quest. I don't know, but there was no details on that.
And the other thing, I don't think I read anywhere, was how was the comfort as far as the weight? Did it feel about the same as an Oculus Rift, or was it,
In
How comfortable is
summary,
it?
what I say about Quest is pretty much a Rift without the cable. But the display is different. You can see all the details on that, out there on YouTube. They tested. They were discussing with the product manager, I think, and they have given some details on the display and other things, even with the ports. But
Mhm.
the feel, like when you put on and then you start playing, because the all the details that annoy people in terms of quality, they go away when you start playing. So the feel was I had a Rift without the cable, and I could just walk around freely. It was lightweight and everything, just pretty much a Rift without the cable. That was the feel. The
Got it.
controllers, they were different, but the learning curve to start using them was like instant, pretty much. I didn't really have to remember what the touch is like and adapt. No, just start using right away.
And quality of tracking.
What about the
was
feel
it,
of view? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Just going on the tracking then. I have two examples.
yeah.
So at the super hot booth, the tracking was a little bit disappointing. I had some issues. Even if the controllers were in front of me like this, I had issues. Like I could see my hand going, like just what happens with Vive when it loses tracking. The controller just goes, it's floating. So that happened a few times. If your controller is away from your head a little bit, you will lose tracking. If it's behind on you, like on your back, you're gonna lose control as well, tracking.
and accuracy of your steps.
Sorry?
Sorry, and while you walked, where did you felt like the steps are accurate? So like one-to-one
They
in
were.
terms of...
Yes.
Yeah.
For the headset, the tracking was one-to-one. I didn't feel,
Thank you.
I didn't have really any issues with that. Just with the controller.
So once again,
The
can you
controller-
see how? Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say it's controversial because they were showing super hot where you have to use your hands all angles, even behind you sometimes if you're holding a gun or something and you're going to shoot someone in a different direction. You lose tracking of the controllers, of the Quest. But in the end, it worked. It was a simple demo.
Yeah. So, the difference in super hot from the like Vive or like Rift experience, it was there, but it was tolerable, right?
Yeah, and like they redesigned the experience, making larger areas. I think the first stage you were in some parking lot, and it's in a narrow corridor hallway.
Mhm.
But in there, this hallway was much larger, so they were trying to make you walk around with the Quest, of course.
Yeah.
And if
Sorry,
you see
one more question. If you compare the Steam VR 2.0 tracking with, with wireless solution HTC Vive Pro to Oculus Quest, which one would be more premium in your opinion?
from the HTC Vive, of course, but
Yeah.
because it didn't have issues with the Quest, I can't say it is bad. It's not bad. It is good, but I still believe the out-in tracking is still there better. It has
How
better,
far did they allow you to walk? How
honestly.
far could you just walk?
From what I've heard, Quest is a world, I wouldn't say roll, but probably depends. You have to track. You have to limit your area before playing, but you could track like a really huge area without any problems. But still, Quest was developed for a room scale experience, for a home entertainment experience. That's from what I've heard from the other people discussing it, and from other interviews, and from the from what I saw there as well. But you can walk, like, I would say world scale, but you have to limit the area before the experience. You have to set up. So it depends on how big the area is. The other arena, for example, on the bird and Dead and Bird experience, it was a large area, an arena, but it was split in two. You couldn't cross the line. It was on a train rail in the middle. So the game wouldn't allow you to cross. And then even the monitors were checking, were there for you. They won't allow you to cross it. Otherwise, they'll take off your headset and ask you to stop or something like that. So the arena was big, but the area where you could play was split. There was half of it. So making it like a smaller area, not a room scale, but like a larger room scale for sure. So
Can I
yeah,
ask, and I wanted to know more about the arena experience for sure. Did you try to like fist bump anyone? Did you try to see how accurate someone else's body was in there? Like how accurate your own body was? That sort of look and feel stuff I'm really curious about.
so about that, how it was quite easy to see the experience wasn't well, or that like which was one synchronized. There were boxes for the mixed reality experience, but you could like if you were picking on these boxes, and if you were trying to shoot from a very like in the corner of this box, you'll hit your hand at the box. Although in the experience, you'll see your hand a little off of the box. So it wasn't one synchronized, which was a shame.
I would recommend, Craig, that you look at that tested video where they talk about it and also a technical standpoint. So there is a reasoning why your experience with the lack of synchronicity was there, and it's probably like sensor and like development side. But I wanted to address the issue in terms of tracking. The product manager did say that as long as there are reference points the Quest can latch onto, the space that you can walk around and can literally be infinite. So as long as there's points of reference for the headset to do tracking, you can have an infinite space and keep on walking in that.
I remember them saying it was early stages in the tested video, that they're still working on it, and the insight thing that actually tracks the geography, geometry of the space isn't perfect, and it's still a proof of concept is what they said. But I was the reason why I asked about accuracy is because I was wondering how close to shipping they are on this arena scale solution. The headset's going to be released in spring, but the question I want to get a feel for is when is their arena scale platform going to be something that they feel is ready to ship? And if in that arena it was like inches off, I sort of wonder like how rough was it? And that kind of gives me like something I can try to intuit what the future might be like.
Yeah,
I think this is something we can solve with development.
I think my opinion on this is regarding Quest and being it for home-based. Even the same problem virtual reality is facing right now at home is, the space. Imagine if a home can have infinite space, it's not, feasible at home. Like, you can't have like a 20 by 20 or 30 by 30 space at home for home consumers, and they're trying to do an arena with their friends. Not everybody has such an open space. So even though, that's my opinion, so even though, it was designed for like home-based arena, it's not pretty practical. So, the main thing would be is, like Mick was saying earlier, to have Quest with Void or something like that. But that is something we're actually seeing right now with Void having their own big contents, Spacers coming out with Terminator and things like that. But I still think in the end, it's the LBVR market that's going to drive. And there are still other developers and other, hardware vendors who are actually doing arena scale content. So really, at least for now, I don't think this is going to be such a big issue as we are all trying it to be.
No, I wasn't saying it's an issue. I'm saying it's something that we can actually, partake in.
And also with Windows headsets coming up with, inside-out tracking and with the scalability and also the price point coming down. So there are so many options where you can do arena, not just with Quest, so there's so many options. So this is not something that's new in the industry.
I'm sorry, guys. Like, it was a little bit choppy sound on my side. So I very much agree with you. That's true. Like, we are yet to see, where all of this evolves further. Of course, none of us can ignore, what Facebook is doing. So far, they've been a little bit all over the place. But note that almost entire management team on the Oculus side has changed, including some of the biggest, guys. And if you looked at OC5, you saw that, the entry speeches were done by people who a year ago were not even part of Facebook. So we're probably talking about like some realignment happening there. And if they decide to go aggressively, after our fields, we might see changes. But at the same time, I don't think we should be super, pressed about this because, so far nobody found this, killer bullet for the market. And as of now, I want to stress it out that you guys remain the main success story there. Let me really quickly move the conversation to Pimax, because this is another system that many people on the in our community wanted to talk about. And Thomas, tell us, since you've been kind of one of the testers, tell us your experience with it. And I think the guys in our community, they've been posting mostly questions, being hesitant that Pimax is very much resource hungry, and that you need a really good, graphics card and processor and other things to run it correctly, both 5X and 8X. What do you think about this? Do you think this is a kind of a device that is applicable to the? By the way, Thomas, right now he is in the Pimax. He is participating in this event, right?
Oh no, that's not right. For now, I had the Samsung Odyssey because I'm not at home and using my laptop.
I see.
But
okay.
I tried this already with the Pimax, and that was not a problem. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think? Is Pimax a viable option for location-based VR market? And if yes, what would these guys need to have to be able to run Pimax? Because the general feeling of the guys is that you need to have pretty stellar hardware, pretty stellar machines.
Yeah, I think Pimax is recommending an 1080 Ti for the the 1080 for the 5K plus and the 1080 Ti for the 8K. But I think you should better go to the 2080 Ti. I think because it's most games run very good. But if you are an arcade and you want to play something like Project Cars 2 or so, you really need the best graphics card to run good on the Pimax headset. That's sure.
Do you know what's their status with both headsets?
They are for now they are pretty slow. I think there are only 50 backers that already received their headsets, so they really have to push the the production so that everybody gets it until Christmas. I don't think so. I don't think so that this will.
So even if we're talking about like some scenario where imagine like a bunch of arcades come together and they say, well, we can come as one big client and we can order 1,000 devices that's going to be spread across various operators. It is unlikely they're going to be able to supply that that fast right now. That's for sure. But when do you think, like your personal feeling, knowing and kind of following this market very closely and their development very closely, when do you think we could realistically talk about kind of a more sizable numbers in terms of production?
It's hard to say, but I think it will be 1 year to achieve this. I think now the pre-orders did start, and even that didn't work. I don't think anybody got his order through because they have some issues with the website and stuff, and even that didn't work. So they are pretty slow with everything, and I think the last backer will even get it sometimes next year in April or something like this, and then the pre-orders are going through. And if somebody want to buy thousands of Pimaxes, he has to wait a long time, I think.
Yeah. So, Shabir, you are very well familiar with the Asian market in particular. and you mentioned like Windows-based devices, Windows mixed reality. Are there any other alternatives? Like, should we be looking into alternatives to HTC? Because like this this graph looks a little bit scary. You know, the price of the kind of the
HTC Vive dropping.
of HTC Vive. You know, I know there were a bunch of developers, of course, in Asia who were pushing for like similar devices, but of course, more or less realistically, we're talking about like guys like Acer, Asus, and even was it Acer? Like who's the partner with the Swedish guys with Starbreeze? Star VR is Acer, right?
Yes,
So,
Star
and
VR
I
is
think
Acer.
they recently dropped the news that location-based VR market is not going to be there super focused, and they would rather redirect their efforts toward commercial businesses, which is like corporate use. Do you think we should be looking for potential option B on the hardware side, and who can it be? Like on a market scale, not just like an individual arcades.
It's still tentative, because it's a very maturing market. Nobody knows where everything is going.
Yeah.
But I still think it's a good option to have Windows headsets because Microsoft is now backing it a lot. And also some of the major companies like Acer, Lenovo, HP are getting into this market. And also they're planning to support the Steam VR 2.0 tracking. So this might be a very viable option than HTC Vive, and since it's inside-out tracking, the scalability would be much more easier, and also, the base stations won't be there. So I definitely think it's a good marker. I mean, a good point to experiment, and since the price point is also not that high, and also I believe Acer is coming up with their 2.0 headset, with better field of vision and the graphics and stuff like that. So I think this definitely would help, and especially for Arena, if they can all support the 2.0 tracking with inside out, it would be much more easier to configure pricing. So, and also the same quality. I think this is definitely a viable option to consider.
That's a really good point. Guys, do you have any questions to Shabir, Zan, and go ahead.
Yeah, so I was wondering, as far as the Pimax is concerned, I have some 1070 backpacks, VR backpacks, and I know that the Pimax has like a different field of view setting. Do you think there is a possibility to lower the field of view setting on the Pimax to sort of squeeze out enough performance from like a 1070?
No. No.
Oh no! We need more backpacks. We need new backpacks. Who's going to make the new backpacks?
Yeah, that's 1070 is not powerful enough. Perhaps you can play Beat Saber, but I'm not really sure. I don't think so.
I did try the Star VR. They are 4K. I think the 200 field of vision. The graphics, it's a little better. It's much better than the Vive, but the problem was, the weight, and also they showcased a cinematic experience, which was really good compared to watching it on Vive. But still, the problem is, the pricing, the question of pricing.
Yeah.
And they did say they're coming up with Star VR 1, but now Mick is saying that they're not going to do LBVR anymore. So, everything is up in the air. And also, especially for like smaller arcades, it's going to be very difficult investing.
Do you mean that the lighthouse tracking ones won't come through?
No. I think Mick mentioned something about Star VR not concentrating much on LBVR market anymore. So I don't know where their progress is, but compared to the Vive, their initial, it was much better experience because of the, the wider field of view, and also especially watching a movie.
Yes.
And the way they did it was much, much better. But still, an arcade, for them to afford a $2,000 or $5,000 headset is going to be very, very hard. So, so it's all about finding the right balance, for your feasibility.
Okay, guys, that's super helpful. Here I see another question.
Yeah, I just have a question. Like, in the view of the guests, once they try a Pimax, do you think they'll be disappointed in going to like Oculus Quest C5 because of the wild field of view?
I didn't understand you. Your sound is stuttering.
Oh, sorry. I'm just looking at it from the point of at a VR arcade tries a Pimax, if they'll be disappointed buying a Oculus Quest or a regular Vive because of the wild field of view.
Okay, as I understood, you want to know if I don't want to go back to an old headset. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Since I used the Pimax, or I also tried the Star VR1 or the X-Tal headset, I don't want to go back to the Vive because or the Rift or something with smaller field of view, because it's really killing the immersion for me now. The wider field of view is for me is a game changer. It's really awesome. It's much more immersive. So no, I don't want to go back to any other headset for now, even though you need a very powerful PC.
It might feel the same way. When you use the Vive Pro and then you go back to a Vive, you feel the same way, I think.
Okay,
But for a general customer,
can I ask?
it would... Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I guess I just wanted to be able to ask this at some point to anyone, is what the largest Lighthouse 2.0 space they've managed to make.
I think the default it's suggested you could do up to like 30 by 30, but you can actually push it a little bit more.
Yeah, I've seen some experiences where they even made it in different rooms, one area in different rooms. So I think you can connect like 16 lighthouses if you like to. So I think you can expand the space even more, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it all works out when the Quest is out there.
Ja, das war doch mal interessant, oder? Fandet ihr? Also allein die Tatsache, dass sowas möglich ist. Eine Konferenz abhalten mit Leuten auf der ganzen Welt, die sich dann auch gegenseitig sehen. Wir haben ja die Handbewegungen alles gesehen. Sehr cool gemacht. Auch zum Beispiel, dass man diese Präsentation vor sich hat, kann die größer ziehen, kann vor- und zurückspulen. Oder kann zum Beispiel so Graphen in VR, in 3D so vor sich sehen und hin und her switchen und weiß der Geier. Und man kann halt Leute auf die Bühne beamen, die dann was zu sagen haben. Oder dass sich einer halt meldet und sagt so, ich habe jetzt mal eine Frage, und der Moderator kann den anklicken, dann kriegt er das Mikro freigeschaltet. Ich finde das affengeil. Das Problem ist, das ist noch eine Software, die ist nicht frei verfügbar, und die benutzen die halt nur für ihre Konferenzen selber. Und ich habe allerdings mal angefragt, ob ich das nicht mal bekommen kann für meinen eigenen Gebrauch oder so. Sie überlegen noch, ob sie das frei verfügbar machen. Ich fand es von der Funktionalität sehr cool, hat toll funktioniert. Ja, jetzt würde ich natürlich gerne wissen, was haltet ihr davon? Wie findet ihr sowas? Könnten wir sowas auch benutzen? Ich könnte mir zum Beispiel vorstellen, dass wir mal irgendwie so einmal in der Woche oder alle 2 Wochen vielleicht mal so eine Konferenz machen und über das Thema VR reden. Und die Leute, die was sagen wollen, die können sich anmelden, sage ich jetzt mal. Die kommen dann auf die Bühne. Ich wäre dann natürlich auch auf der Bühne, und da könnte man über Sachen diskutieren. Zum Beispiel jetzt über die Oculus Quest oder die Oculus Rift S. Was ist damit? Wer hat die und die Meinung? Und alle können sich ins Publikum setzen, alle, die Spaß haben. Und ihr seht ja, da sind ja auch noch relativ viele Plätze. Und ja, dann könnt ihr zugucken oder auch selber was dazu sagen. Finde ich interessant. Ihr vielleicht auch, oder? Jetzt ist die Frage, wenn wir diese Software nicht kriegen, kennt ihr eine ähnliche Software, die das auch kann? Allerdings jetzt nicht spielerisch. Ich meine jetzt nicht irgendwie Rec Room oder sowas, sondern wirklich was Ernsthaftes, wo man schön diskutieren kann, was genau für solche Zwecke geeignet ist. Wenn ihr sowas kennt, sagt es mir, und dann können wir das mal ausprobieren. Ich hoffe, das hat euch ein bisschen gefallen. Wenn ja, gebt mir mal einen Daumen nach oben und ein Abo. Und wenn ihr mich unterstützen wollt und die Sache VR mit mir vorantreiben wollt, dann könnt ihr das über Patreon machen. Der Link ist unter diesem Video. Vielleicht kann ich das Ganze dann irgendwann mal Vollzeit machen. Wir werden sehen. Danke fürs Zuschauen. Bis zum nächsten Mal in der virtuellen Realität. Haut rein. Ciao.
VoodooDE